Just taking a look at the reaction to that 2-2 draw between Barcelona and Manchester United in the Europa League. Unhappy campers coming from England. Well, it's very different reaction in the Catalan press. Partidazo, they're saying. Great game. Two very differing tones. One side seemingly more happy with the draw, if you're to believe the papers. Gemma Soler joining us now. Stuart Robson still with us. Gemma, is that the case, though? Because there's been a lot of talk about the team that Xavi selected and who he left out in this 11. What has been the response back home in Barcelona?
Oh, well, I think the sport newspaper, they were a little bit too optimistic. I was at the Camp Nou and I was in the stand, so I could listen to the fan base chatting during the game. And I don't think everyone agreed. I mean, it was a party. I think it was an exciting game because with lots of chances, lots of different twists. I think it was a thrilling game. But talking about Barcelona, I think that they were such in a great form, 6 wins in a row in the La Liga, and which that much solid defense, and we didn't see that yesterday at the Camp Nou. So many change of Xavi. There was a lot of controversy with this in the stands. I think it's like a message that Xavi is sending, like his main goal is La Liga, because he decided to change. Put upside down the defensive line, and those players that we saw, like probably the best version lately in La Liga, I'm talking about Frenkie de Jong in the middle, Koundé, they felt a little bit lost yesterday. So yeah, it was a partidazo, an exciting game, a thrilling game, and some good aspects, some minutes of great football from Barcelona. Maybe I would highlight Ansu Fati as coming out from the bench with at least a personality, something we haven't seen it that much. And of course, controversy with Xavi saying that possible hand of Fred in his own area was as big as a cathedral. Lots of things. I'm not sure it's a great result for Barcelona to defend in the second leg in Old Trafford because it was an expensive draw with Gavi being booked and Pedri injured.
It's interesting, Robbo, because Xavi said that the rotations, well, they were rotations due to the busy schedule ahead. The next 2 games in La Liga are Cadiz and Almeria, 15th and 16th coming into the round. Almeria have just been battered today by Girona. Did he just get it wrong?
I think he did to a certain degree. I think because, you know, Koundé has been playing at right back, Araujo has been playing at centre back, and Araujo has been one of the best players in La Liga, best defenders, and Koundé's done a good job at right back. Why he wanted to swap them round the other way? There was talk that he thought that that they were going to play Rashford on the left-hand side. He played him at right back to come up against him, but then he could always have changed him round. Alonso, you know, Alonso's a strange player because Xavi's played him at centre-half on several occasions this season. Now, when he was at Chelsea, we used to talk about being a left wing-back who was great going forward, but in 1v1 situations defensively, didn't read the situation, wasn't particularly quick, and he was found out by Rashford in the 1v1 where Rashford scores his goal. So there was lots of strange decisions by Xavi in the way he picked his side. I can understand why he picked Kessie, and I can understand why he played Frenkie de Jong in that holding role and Pedri on the right-hand side, but, you know, I didn't understand his back four at all.
I think he did some... I think in the Super Cup in Saudi Arabia, he played Araujo at right back, which was a little bit of a shock at the time, but it worked out pretty well for him. I think, again, it was thinking about the pace of Real Madrid down the left-hand side. But then coming back from that and getting into such a rhythm as your back four to make those changes again. On the other side of the coin, that was a damn good performance from Man United away from home. And also where he played, you know, talking about tactics, where Ten Hag played Weghorst, you know, deeper in the midfield. Not quite in the midfield, but dropping deeper to make a nuisance of himself and getting Rashford running in behind. So these little things worked really well for Man United. And it wasn't just down to Barcelona switching the defence. I've got to say it was down to some of Man United's really good play, particularly, but not only, Rashford getting in behind.
Yeah, it's interesting, Gemma. What were you about to say, Gemma, when I put that to Robbo, if whether Xavi got his team wrong?
No, that I think he's picking La Liga as a main goal because, as you were mentioning, it's Cadiz and Almeria, so it's 2 teams that you should win. You can give some rest to the key players, and he's 8 points clear Real Madrid. So it's for me it's a clear case that he's picking his main goal is La Liga, and he's trying to give some rest to the players, inventing, and I think that's the statement of Xavi in this game.
Robert, why do you think it is that Barcelona are so dominant in La Liga this season and it's not so dominant in Europe?
I think teams in La Liga show them at times too much respect. There's been games where Barcelona have dominated possession, had easy possession, can get into the top third without any sort of pressure, and then they can play their clever football. They're 1- and 2-touch passing. Lewandowski's a great finisher when the ball comes in the box. But Manchester United showed them no respect in terms of allowing them to play. So they pressed quite high up the field, and Craig's absolutely right. Weghorst played in midfield, but also Fred played further forward, and at times they had 5 players pressing the ball. And it caused Barcelona 1 or 2 problems. They couldn't play with the freedom. They couldn't get it out to their wide players quite so easily. They got it out to the fullback Alba on several occasions. But overall, I think teams in La Liga pay them so much respect. They're allowed to play. In Europe, that hasn't been the case. Teams have come out and pressed them and made it more difficult and got balls in behind them, because I still look at Barcelona and would say that they aren't a great defensive side, despite their record in La Liga.
As a manager, when it comes to things like this, Stevie, can you understand that, why dominant more in one competition than another and having to adjust like he has?
Yeah, you can understand that. But some of the decisions don't make any sense whatsoever. You know, Araujo and Koundé playing the normal back four. One's right back and one's the centre back. So why are you changing them? And then I don't think it's a shock that Manchester United try and whip balls in behind for Marcus Rashford. I mean, that's not a surprise to anybody, is it? So why are you playing Alonso at centre-back? It just makes no sense whatsoever. So, yes, I understand if you want to go for the Championship and Europe's second in line. But when you're picking a team, you've got to make smart decisions. And he didn't make any. None. None whatsoever.
And if I was picking a team to concentrate on La Liga, I think I'd probably not play my 2 best players. And his 2 best players played. One got injured, Pedri, and the other one, Lewandowski. Because if he loses those 2 for a long period, particularly Lewandowski, who's going to get the goals? So, you know, it's all very well picking a team to save legs. Well, then maybe save the legs of the guy that's in his mid-30s and your playmaker in the middle of the park who's now done a hamstring. So, yeah, it didn't make... But they're not out. That's the other side of it. It was 2-2. They're not out. It's an uphill task. Obviously, there's Pedri and Gavi missing, but they'll still be a good side at Old Trafford when they pitch up. It's not like if, oh, these 2 are out and Man United got 2 goals there, it's all over. Nah, far from it. Far from it.
Let's focus on Manchester United and their perspective as well, Robbo. Let's just focus on Marcus Rashford and how he's been able to turn around his story like he has.
Well, there was midway through last season, he came on in a game and the crowd were almost booing him at times because he didn't look as though he was putting any effort. He'd lost his confidence completely. Something's happened to him this season where he's regained that confidence. He's now scoring goals. He looks as though he can hold the play up. He can make runs in behind. He can go past people. He's picking out passes. He's making the right runs in the box. And he looks a totally different player, one of the best attacking players in Europe at the moment. Whereas, as I say, a year ago, he was all over the place and it looked as though his Manchester United career was over. But through Ten Hag, maybe, through Rashford finding his form again and finding his confidence again, he looks a top-class player. And, you know, whether he plays on the left wing, whether he plays through the middle, whether he plays on the right or just in behind the main striker, he looks dangerous at the moment. He's making all the right decisions.
We sat here in the summer, I think it was just before the transfer window closed, and there was talk at the time of PSG fancying taking Marcus Rashford away from his slump at United, and I honestly was like, what? This is madness. What are we seeing at the moment, or even in the last 18 months prior to that, that you would make a club like PSG go and sign Marcus Rashford? But you look at him now, the transformation from a player who you were going, who's going to take him now? I mean, out of all the big clubs, I mean. And it has to be, you know, a lot of it is down to the player, but it has to be down to the coaching staff and the manager. You know, just giving him the confidence, helping him tactically, telling him where he wants him, playing him where he's comfortable. All these things, and he has taken it on board, because Rob was right. Old Trafford in particular was the last place in Manchester he wanted to be 6 months, 12 months ago, because it was a burden for him. The pressure was getting to him. You could see it in the young man's eyes. But now, puffing the chest out, his finishing has been unbelievable, Stevie, isn't it?
Well, Ten Hag set the team up for him, quite frankly. And I think I said it yesterday. Every Manchester United player in the middle of the park now, when they get the ball, and if they're able to have a look, or even sometimes they don't even look, they're clipping it in behind. Because they know he's going. He knows it's coming, and they know that they're looking for it, and everybody's just doing it without thinking, and he's just thriving on it.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.